My name is Dan Norris. I'm a orientation mobility specialist with the Vermont Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. I'm also the supervisor of adult services.
My name is Trisha Klein, and I'm a certified orientation and mobility specialist. I've been in the field for about 15 years.
I'm Alec Wolf. I'm 14. I live in St. Albans City. I go to St. Albans City School. I'm in 7th grade. I have ROP.
My name is Jonathan Gardner. I'm 16 years old. I'm a sophomore in high school, and I have septo-optic dysplasia. I have no functional vision whatsoever except for light perception. But other than light perception, I can't really see anything at all.
My name is Patrick, and I'm just finishing up my O&M program at UMass Boston in vision studies with emphasis in orientation mobility. And I was invited to participate in this weekend's workshop.
We were approached about a little over a year ago to see if we would be interested in bringing Daniel Kish to Vermont to have this workshop. And it was intriguing. We got a group of our mobility specialists together, and we met with Daniel Kish and his associate Bill Wolf, and we talked about what exactly Daniel did. We were all familiar with him from articles and news broadcasts that have happened over the years. And we wanted to get to know him and to really get a taste for if this would be something we want to bring to Vermont. So we had this extraordinary 3-day event. We were able to have 2 of our students that are still in school and 5 adults learn from Daniel Kish echolocation and how it can be applied in their life. We had two wonderful parents who were willing to let their kids take a step towards independence. They held back. It was tough even for us as instructors. It was tough at times to a little bit of fear that are they really going to hear what they're hearing? Are they really going to hear that obstacle? But these parents got to see their kids strike out into the world with a little bit more independence, and we love them for that. They let them take that step.
And you can hear it. Listen, click.
It's huge.
It's huge. And does that sound like a tree?
No.
How does it sound different from a tree?
Echoing.
They use their tongue to make a click, and just like with a bat or with any animal that's using echolocation, the sound goes out and then it reflects off something and it comes back to you. And so you can actually tell how dense an object is by the kind of echo that comes off of it, and you can tell a little bit about the shape. There's one point where they were in a water fountain that was turned off, and it had a curved wall to it, and they were able to tell that it was a circular structure because of the way it would bounce back. Or across the street, they were clicking and clapping and being able to tell a building in the far distance. Traveling through the hotel, if you clicked and there was a big wide open space, you'd hear this hollow, distant echo, and that's where that vocabulary piece comes in of trying to learn the vocabulary of what the environment sounds like. And if you click up into tree branches, that sound goes up into the tree and then it diffuses, and it doesn't come back as a solid echo. It goes up and back from many different directions as an echo, and it's kind of a Swiss cheese or a spongy sound to it. If you clicked against a sign, like a parking sign, you get a solid back at you, and it's a very solid sound of an echo. There's this one point where they're doing panel exercises, and Daniel Kish would put we're using menus from there, and we're putting, he's holding the menu on one side or the other or in front, and they would have their eyes closed or blindfolds on, and they'd be listening for it. As they would make the click, they would be able to tell if it was to their left or their right, and he would do that as a warm-up exercise to get the senses going. He called them panel exercises. And it was neat because after a couple minutes of doing that, right at first, especially with our adults, it was hard to get warmed up. But once they started tapping into that sense, then they were able to use that while traveling. And that's where it really comes in handy, is that your cane is as long as it is. And so echolocation then becomes a way to preview an area before your cane previews it for you.
Is it echo the same as that wall that we were at earlier? Or
No, it's
a lot more echo?
Yeah.
A lot more echo. Okay. But this is where we start. We start by training our brain to even be able to register these things. Just flat.
There's like walls around this thing.
It echoes.
It does echo in a funny way. There's some sort of regular, predictable texture in the wall.
I do notice a difference.
Now, it takes a bit of time, obviously, and a bit of practicing. Ah, bing! Is that a tree?
There's the fence.
There's a fence.
Statue.
Yeah.
Right over there.
And you can hear it. Listen.
Wow,
It's so cool.
Is that awesome?
Yeah,
that
it's
is
like,
pretty cool.
Your voice just echoes all around you.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Is that awesome? That's cool.
The weekend was a big surprise to me as far as how my student did. It was very exciting to see him take the ideas that he already had been using a bit and then run with them.
I really saw things happening was when they were able to walk like right by these pillars, these columns, and just say, there's one, pause, and there's one. And I'm looking at like, how do you get that so wild that, there's little clicks and boom, quiet space, bam, there's a column, there's one. And they would just like look over, face towards it. So that kind of showed me like, wow, something's really going on here.
I knew that was really possible just to know where you were just by doing sound. But this weekend was fun. Just learn more about echolocation.
So after Alec was finished working with Daniel Kish, he had the opportunity to practice his echolocation skills that he had learned in the morning. I think the most exciting thing for him was the prospect that he could explore somewhere on his own, obviously with supervision, but with nobody hanging on to him not hanging on to anybody else. He was able to explore the hotel. We went outside, went into Church Street. At the hotel, he was very excited about the idea that he could find the pool by himself.
Both students, when they got out in the park and they were traveling on their own, they had a sense of freedom and a sense of ownership in their travel, and that was neat. And that's not only echolocation, that's orientation and mobility in general. That's the purpose of orientation and mobility. But giving another tool into the tool belt, another piece of confidence, a shot of courage in traveling in the community, that helps.
So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to explore.
Yeah.
See what there is to find
In the park.
in the park.
Freedom!
And find your way back here.
He let us go. I was like, freedom, because he's like, find whatever you can in this park, and it has an interesting, and return back to the band stadium. So I was like, okay, this is an opportunity to show what I can do, what I know I can do. So I'm like, I love being just letting us go. Really, that was like I felt like a responsibility.
The biggest challenge was, trying to find a lot of those things without touching.
He was very aware of the fact that he was responsible to orient himself in the park, and he was traveling along, and he was able to find a tree at one point, and he said, "Oh, there's a tree," and they kept going.
The parameters was just they identified the central structure and used that as a reference point, and then they were tasked to go out and explore. And they went out and just explored on their own. I mean, we were near for safety, of course, but you could just see the life in them of just out there exploring this big park. They were out there finding the swing and a cannon and a playground and all on their own, And so I think echolocation kind of extends the reach of people who can utilize it. And so canes are great, and canes are certainly necessary, and dog guides are great also. But this is another tool set I think that people can use of extending the reach, if you will, from just their kind of where their body is, and to see that happen, and the freedom, the sense of freedom that not just the kids, the students, but a couple of the adults that were able to also identify the columns and just feel that sense of I'm doing this, this is me, and finding that they're able to just a sense of freedom of just being independent travelers like that. Was really what struck me as like a really good piece of what this can do.
Seeing how all of our clients benefited from having some echolocation skills. That was a great thing.
You get a hit on kind of people's strengths, like people who are good candidates for dog guide users, and you'll have that conversation with them. And so for me as a mobility instructor, I look forward to being more aware of my environment auditorily and acoustically, in tune with that. And that's kind of what this workshop was, a brief introduction, just being more aware of my acoustical environment and how I can introduce that to the people that I'm working with.
For some, it will greatly enhance their independence. For others, it'll be an added supplement to what they can do. And for many, it will be something that we'll investigate and see where we can apply it in their life.
I often talk with some of my students about using all of their O&M superpowers, and this is a great way to enhance their listening skills, their environmental awareness skills. And I also love the idea of them having some freedom. It's difficult for families, for sure, to let go of some of these students. And that was something that was very big at this workshop that we all gained, including the families, the instructors, and the students. You know, that they have the ability to be let go of.
I definitely am going to take it home with me. Once in a while, I'll go traveling this time down Main Street, St. Albans Town. I'll definitely use that to know where I am.
It'll probably come more into use when I'm walking, because every Friday I walk the streets of Wells River, Vermont with Sheila. It's like the pharmacy, the post office, the bank. So I'd probably use it a little more there, or just anywhere that I walk to on the street.
For me, that's what it is. It's another tool, it's another skill set that will work for some people.
I think that there's a place for this with every one of our students, whether it's students with multiple disabilities, students with low vision, totally blind students.
And we have an opportunity now to continue to keep that momentum going and apply this in our teaching and in our assessments and in our partnerships with our clients. Every little bit counts, and if it can be used, it should be at least be considered. I think that's important. I think that we need to leave all the options on the table. That's the whole reason we brought Daniel Kish out here in the first place, is because as an agency we are dedicated to helping Vermonters to be able to access their environment, to be independent, to enhance their ability to travel in the community safely and gracefully.